1 minute. Sasha's ready to go. She's on camera. Movie star. She's going to be a movie star. Okay, so we are live. Hi, everyone. Okay, we're going to start in just a second. Just want to say hi to Sasha. Say hi. Hey, you're in her way.
Oh, sorry. Morning.
Good. No, it's not good morning. It's good afternoon. Except, of course, the people in Alaska out on the West Coast.
I'm on Arizona time.
Oh, okay, wait. I suppose it is morning in Arizona. Okay, so let's switch out cameras. There we go. There we are. Okay, move that there. All right, so Andy says we are good to go. Are you good to go?
Good to go.
Let me finish setting a couple things here, making sure everything's happy. All right, it's morning in California too. Yay. Okay, hi everyone. Today is Wednesday and it's Fun with the Sun, something I just sort of made up a few weeks ago because the child, say hi, Alexander.
Good morning. Good
This is my son, Alexander Geiger. This is my grandpuppy. Look, this is my grandpuppy. She's like 9 months old. This is Sasha. She is a Pompapoo.
Pomapoo.
Pomapoo. I said we should name her Sushi. But anyway.
That's her own dog.
Yeah. I think we should get her a cousin named Sushi. So we have Sushi and Sasha. What do you think about that? Anyway, all right. So we are having fun with the sun. What does that mean? I don't know. We sort of made it up. And so a few weeks ago or a month ago, however long ago it was, I was having this conversation with Alexander and said, hey, since you're going to be here, let's do a live. And how did that all sort of even pop into my head is because, every time he comes home, he comes up with some idea, says, oh, let's make something on the bench. And I figured we were going to get there anyway. Might as well talk about it early. So we started talking about it. I said, so what do you want to do? And let's go ahead and make it live. Duh. So he said, let's make a box. Really, we can't do something simple. We want to make a box. So in my head, I went to a square box. And I said, well, how do you want to make it? He goes, well, I want to do this, and that, and a hinge. And it's like, yeah, okay, because hinges are so easy, we're going to make a hinge. So I figured, you know what? Let the kid get here, and we'll talk about it. And see... We'll talk about it and see how far he gets with it. So he gets here and he goes, yeah, so I want to make a box, blah, 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 with a hinge. It'll go this way, it'll go that way. I'm like, okay, that's not clicking in my brain. How big is said box? 3 inches. Like, wait. We make jewelry. How does this even work in your head? Huh? 3 inches? What the heck?
I come from an industrial side where 3 inches is very, very small in my world.
So that said, let's back it up. Let's reel it in. Okay, so you notice I'm wearing my, proud to be Navy mom t-shirt because said child was in the Navy. And so what did you do for the Navy?
I was an airframer, so that means I worked on all F-18 parts, basically. A lot of metal work, sheet metal specifically, but we used a lot of rivet guns. Rather than rather than hammering our own rivets, as you guys would hear, on a much smaller scale.
Right. So what's funny is when he was in the Navy, he came home and goes, oh, I know how to do that, meaning soldering. So here, go ahead. Here's some solder. Here's some metal. Let's see you do it. Because in reality, remember, soldering in what we do in jewelry is the same thing as welding, but we do it in minutia, right? So I handed him some solder and said, here, go ahead, put it together, see what happens. Let me just say there was a lot of solder. Ooh, we just ruined all of it. See, you just put it everywhere. I'm like,
She didn't know our jewelry was flying at Mach 1.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's where all of his knowledge comes in. And it's interesting for me through the years to see how that information actually does relate to jewelry because, it's not because he's my kid, but I do, he's got some skill. it's pretty interesting. I'm not saying that because he's my kid, but he's got some skill, and some of that does translate to what we do. So for all those out there who are watching and who are welders, you can make jewelry. Just remember, we do it really, really, really small. That's all. So that's where all this comes in. And so, of course, he wants to make a box with a hinge because it's so easy. But I said, okay, let's scale it down. Let's bring it down a little bit. And I said, okay, why don't you draw it out? So, of course, the idea of the box in my head, a square box, he's like, no, why would we make a square box? So basic. Why would you do that? He came up with, ready? Voila, this idea. I'm like, Jiminy Crickets, what the hell? What are you thinking? Okay, well, I said, well, you have to draw it out. And so I said, you got to really draw a form, which only started like here. And it wasn't getting too far with it. So you know what? I got this. What I'm going to do is I'll generate it on a computer. All I have to do is get on Adobe Illustrator, put in octagon, 8 sides, 1.25 inches. Notice how I sized it down? And went bam. Look at that.
Perfect.
I have a perfect pattern. Oh, so Jim Lawrence is out there. Say hi to him.
Hey, Jim, how you doing?
Hi, Jim.
I don't know who wrote Tasha in the chat, but it's Sasha with an S. Go ahead.
Oh, yes, we got to make sure that's right. It's Sasha. Anyway, so bam, there it is. This is what so I created a little pattern for Alex here, and that's where we're going with it. All right, so I said, well, you can't just go ahead and come live and think you're going to get through this in like 2 seconds. You got to make it. So the other day, I sat him down at the bench, and I had him make something. So we started with something like this. I know it looks a little crappy, but go with it, okay?
A bit trashy.
A little trashy. So there are his sides like that. And then he said, oh, well, wait. Why don't we make it more interesting? Why don't we make the sides look like leaves? Oh, boy.
Tough.
Really tough. So he started cutting them down. I think you can see the shape a little bit. And then what happened? No.
Well, this was just all to help the creative mindset and come up with an idea that was going to work, which I think is what a lot of what my mom does in the basement.
In the studio.
When she's creating,
Thank you.
In the studio, when she's creating, and I think that, everyone can do this, and it just kind of takes like a free mind. It doesn't need to be like so cut and dry all the time, even though maybe when it is on here, it is maybe in that format. I'm not really sure, but this is just kind of like a way that you can see where the design is. Oops, sorry. And like just kind of see the process as it goes along. It starts out as something super basic like this side, and then you start thinking about it, and you're like, oh, I want it to look cooler and cooler, and then all of a sudden, you start formulating this plan and this idea, and then we come up with something like this.
So what he's trying to say is the process is fluid. You may have come up with an idea, and I've talked a lot about the design process and what we do, and what's really great is that we have copper to test things out of instead of silver, because this would have cost a ton of money to be testing in silver, except maybe 15 years ago when it was $5. Oh, hello. $5 an ounce. Right now at $23 an ounce, it's a bit more expensive. So that said, what he was saying is, you start with an idea and you start processing it through, and as the ideas flow, you got to work with what you have. And as he found out very quickly, this was not so easy. So he came up with the next idea, is then we're going to change out to a weave like this. So let's talk about what you're going to need to do this today. So today, Alexander's already made this base. We're going to make a container. And so we're going to work on a top, which is going to be basically the same thing, except larger in diameter, but shorter in width, because we're going to be making a lid, right? So then what he came up with was this. So basically it was, it is this here, but now has strips inside of it. And by the way, if you look into the details of this video, you'll see that I have posted a link for the pattern. and we're posting the pattern for free. You just have to get it off of our website at theurbanbeater.com, but the link is there. And so the pattern will not only have this plain one, but it also has one with all the little strips in it, like this. So from all these ideas and the 2 versions that we did here, we went ahead and made another pattern with the strips already in there. So Alexandra got started by cutting all these strips, and that was another lesson too, huh?
Oh yeah, a good
How
lesson.
was it cutting all those strips?
It was a pain and very challenging to actually cut these strips down. So we went through a couple of methods to try and figure this out. And when I was cutting it with just regular shears, with the hand shears, it was kind of bending these pieces right here into curling them, making them a little bit wavier than I liked. And then finally, Mom has a table shear, which made it a little bit easier.
Bench shear.
A bench shear, which made this a little bit easier to cut and kept the lines a lot straighter. And then we also use the handsaw, and the handsaw seems to work pretty good. And that's what we're going to do with the remaining piece right here today, is we're going to finish this one out. We're going to take our flat nose pliers, we're going to bend these up, and then we are going to weave it with our 26 gauge copper ribbon.
Bezel wire. Okay, so let's go over, do a quick review of what you're going to need. You'll probably want to create a pattern for yourself. Okay, I like to work on vellum because it's just really a nicer material than paper because I can see through it. Okay, so you're going to need a pattern of some sort, unless you're a complete genius and can do it without a pattern. You will need a pair of bezel shears, unless you have a bench shear, a guillotine bench shear, to at least get the cuts done. If not, you can also use a jeweler's saw. You'll need a soldering setup, of course. We're going to do a little bit of soldering, not a ton. And, oh, hold on, I clicked on something. Wah! Okay. So you'll need a pair of flat nose pliers also. A ruler is probably helpful, and a file, a really nice thin needle file, and a bench shear. Okay, so I'm going to go through and show my first trick before we get started here. Is when you have a pattern, you want to go ahead and somehow adhere it to your metal. So I just thought it was really interesting that as I was doing this, or shall I say, as Alexandra was doing this, okay?
I was just like a toddler, and I decided that, oh yeah, I'm just gonna rubber cement this right to our form here, and it'll be fine. Well, no, it turns out there's a chemical reaction, or we should let this cement dry with the air a little bit, and it actually works better if we wait a minute.
Right. So, yeah, it was sort of funny. I'm like, what? Didn't your mother teach you how to use rubber cement? Apparently not. But his mother is teaching him how to use rubber cement now.
But speaking of those jump rings that you mentioned earlier, we already did those a long, long time ago, and yeah, those are a joy.
Those jump rings? What are you talking about?
Yeah, in the chat.
Oh, I didn't read. Wait, I missed. Wait, where do you see this in the chat?
I don't know. It's up there though. Somebody
said something about jump rings.
Jump
Okay.
rings, yes.
So, all right. Okay, so you want to allow the glue to dry on your paper and the glue to dry on your metal before you adhere it, because it will make a much stronger bond. And of course, what I like to do, because I have some flat edges, I try to go ahead and line those up so that's one less cut I have to do. So that's your tip number
Just three
one.
less cuts in this case.
3 less cuts in this case, right? Mm-hmm. So there you have it, unless you, of course, cut a square off of that. All right, I'm going to set that aside. Again, Alexander's already gotten that started, so you can see, and he's going to show you how to go ahead and saw these little parts. Right. Yes, I am officially his translator today, and his technical advisor. Andy is also with us today. Andy is also with us today telling me all your questions and whatnot too. So it's a family affair with the grand puppy. So as you can see here, wait, let me show you. I want to move back a little bit to give a little bit of leverage on the V. Let's see if I can get you better. Long strokes.
Try and keep your
There
fingers
you go.
clear.
Keep your fingers
It's
clear, up
sharp.
and down a little bit. There you go. Oh, slow down, sure. There you go. That's even better. Long strokes. Try to back up this way. There you go. Slow down. So you want to cut your strips out. Nice long strokes. It'll also take forever. All right, there you go.
Not if you do them fast.
Not if you do it fast. Okay.
Oop.
Okay, so you see, you want to hold it. Yeah. Wait. Back up a little bit. Wait. There. Okay.
Oh, see? See? You see?
Oh.
You okay?
Yep.
Oh.
Wow. Okie dokie then. Nice long strokes. Don't push. You're pushing too hard.
Oh.
There you go. So remember, when you're sawing, you don't want to push too hard because you're forcing it and the saw is not allowed to work. So give it time to work. Andy says, let the saw do the work. Don't mind me, I'm checking out my cut.
Little something to remember me by.
Little something to remember you by. So much for that manicure I did the other day. Huh? Okay.
Last cut.
One more cut.
Hold on.
You want to just cut it with this?
No.
Okay.
We got time.
We got time.
I haven't seen you guys in a while. Oh. Still not going as vertical as I should. That's what happens when you're out of practice, guys.
Up and down. You're leaning forward, lean
Am I?
back. Mm-hmm.
Don't like that.
Okay, so I'm gonna play nice, and I'm gonna let Alexander go over to my bench here and go ahead and cut that.
No.
Oh, you're gonna finish it here? Okay. Determination.
Consistency is key. Oh, there
So
it
the
goes.
question is, can you just use a wider saw blade? You know what? On this one, I would probably go to a thinner saw blade. I mean, if you're saying a wider so that you only have to do one cut instead of doing a strip, that'd be a really wide saw blade. So, I would actually go thinner, and it will probably get a little bit less resistant and allow you to make a finer cut. But yeah, I don't think even a 3 or a 5 is going to get you to the width that we have here, because this is about 2.5 millimeters wide in between those strips that are left behind.
Okay.
Okay, so now that's done. Go ahead and take the paper off, and we're going
I'm
to
not going
switch.
to take the paper off yet because I want to use these lines that I already have on the inside for my flat nose pliers so that I have a base to go off of. That's kind of why I left the whole thing on there in the first place. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take those tiny little strips that we just cut out and pull those out. We can just bend them back and forth till they break off. Pretty easy. Everyone can do that. Okay, just bam, bam, bam. Now, in the Navy we had a thing called pigtails, and that's just like a burr at the end of your metal that could cut you if you were to put your hand into something. And here we're going to have those burrs right at the base because that's where we just broke off our tiny little pieces. And to fix that issue, you can take your file and you're going to get inside in between each strip, and you're just going to go back and forth until you're comfortable enough or you feel like it's smooth enough for you to handle. and it doesn't take too much. Just a few passes, just to get the main things off, the main burrs, and you can just rub. If you like rub your hand on each side, you'll start to feel it get smooth. You know, and that's the same thing with aircraft too. But anyway.
So if you're making an aircraft, you're rubbing your hands along the edges of steel to see if it's smooth.
Aluminum, steel, magnesium, anything. Yeah, you want to run your hand across it because it needs to be aerodynamic. Everything that we do.
That's interesting. So the question is, can you use a blade on the flex shaft? Well, frankly, he thought of that too. It was like, don't you have a blade, Mom? Well, no, I don't have a blade. That's why we're not using a blade. But frankly, I find it really, really scary to use a blade because it can run away from you pretty quickly. I mean, you know, as if a saw blade didn't run away from you fairly quickly. But so I suppose if you're comfortable, you could use a blade on a flex shaft. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use our flat nose pliers here. And like I said, I left this paper on here just to give us an outline of where exactly we are.
Where the bend is going to be.
Where the bend's going to be. So we're just going to get right up to it. We're going to move that straight up.
To a 90-degree bend.
That's right, as best you can do. And then we'll mess with it. Because it's gonna change a little bit later once we get that, what do you call it? Not the ribbon, but the...
bezel wire.
Our bezel wire here involved. So
you're going to bend all of your... I don't know what you call these in basket weaving. Rungs?
Rungs are on a ladder.
Okay. I know there's basket weavers out there watching. You want to help me out here? They're not weavers because the weaver is going to be the bezel wire, right?
And so another thing we talked about the other day too, which I thought was pretty interesting that I don't think my mother ever noticed, was the grain in the metal.
Yeah, did any of you know that there's a grain in the metal, that it matters?
Not in our application here today, but like I said, I'm from the industrial side, so it does matter in which way we bend the metal. The grain in the metal will run vertically or horizontally depending on which way it's facing.
So what we're saying is, like, here's a sheet of 6-inch copper, and you might be able to see it, but the grain is running this direction.
And so in the Navy, we would fold or bend everything against the grain for strength.
So,
but here it's a little obvious.
I suppose if you're doing something structural, that would be important. That you again, what he said was to bend against the grain to create more strength,
rigidity.
Stakes. These are called stakes.
Nice.
Come in closer.
Oh, what? Oh, sorry.
Okay, so we're bending all of the, what do we call them? Rungs?
Stakes.
Oh, stakes.
Rungs are in a ladder.
Rungs are in a ladder. Rungs up at 90 degrees.
Stakes.
You want to make it as sharp of a bend as you can. Unless, actually, you know what's sort of fun is if you can make them all the same sort of curve on the bottom, you'll have sort of a bulbous basket, we'll say. A pot-belly basket. So I also thought what was interesting about this is we started with an octagon, and it really turned out to be round.
Circle.
A circle. There we are.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead and take our film off here, our paper.
Uh-huh.
Nice and shiny and pretty on the inside. I like the shiny.
Okay. I get to be the assistant today.
More like a good teacher. One that works with you, hands-on.
You want a pair of tweezers? So you want a pair of tweezers for that?
Almost got it all. One more. Oh. There it goes. Nice. Got a manufacturer sticker on here.
Whoops. Masking tape.
Come on.
Probably should have taken that off first, huh?
Yeah,
Oh well.
that's all
You
right.
want me to do it?
Probably got nails that I just cut.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Well, the reality is this is going to burn off once we torch it anyway, but it's nice to get it off. There you go.
Nice.
Okay, so we've sawed it,
So even
we've
look
bent it up.
right. Even looking at this right now, it's not perfect. Obviously, we've kind of got a few rungs out here. You can bend it in a little bit, but you don't want to get them too close.
Stakes. You called it a rung.
Oh,
Ah,
that's on her.
rungs are for ladders.
That's on her. So like as you can see here, some of these overlap a little bit, but that's not a big deal. That'll come. We can fix that later. But it does help that if they are spread out, as you can see, right there, and then that'll help get us our ribbon in there.
Your weavers,
Our
the bezel
weavers.
wire.
Bezel wire.
Okay, do you want to shape it around here or no?
Yeah, let's so we can. This is an 1.5 inch sphere, right? Circle?
Yep. Mhm.
Cylinder, and we're gonna just go ahead and throw it inside. This one's a little bit larger
Come on in.
than our base.
You're off the
Sorry.
mark there.
This one's a little bit larger than our base because this is actually the bottom, not the top.
Ah, we screwed up.
But that's all right. We just get it round. Just hit this.
Should I see if this is it? This is
No,
size
that's
up,
larger.
that's bigger.
That's okay.
Okay.
We're looking pretty good here.
Okay.
Okay.
So, all right. So, do you want to anneal it before you weave it?
Yes. So we're gonna anneal it now. We're gonna pull out our torch.
Okay. Let's not torch my camera. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Here you go. So after you've done all the cutting,
Thank you.
after you've done all the cutting and all your filing and bending stuff in, you can go ahead and anneal it. It'll make it all so much easier. Okay, here we are.
Nice.
All right.
That's probably an inch.
Huh?
That's probably an inch.
Is this what you want for a form? Oh, look at that.
So we found
Container.
a container that's about an inch size, since it's a little bit smaller than the original one we were using. And now, there we go.
Okay.
Can you see it?
You gonna start weaving?
Yes. And so with the weave, as my mother instructed me prior to this session, you should start with the weave behind
One of the stakes.
one of your stakes. I was trying to she got the rung in my head, so I'm trying to get that out of here. So you want to put this behind your stake. I like to obviously kind of keep it at a half point. Let me see if I can get you in on that. So right here.
Oh, back a
Oh,
little bit.
back.
There you go. Okay.
You see how I'm at like the half point right there? Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm going to try and do that.
But remember, you can
to
always trim
start.
it.
Right. And so we're just going to go in and out every other one. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, all the way around.
Over, under.
Over, under. And then...
Actually,
You
you know
don't
what?
move
I'll
that?
just move
Thank
the camera.
you,
How's
thank
that?
you. I appreciate it. So,
There you go. Okay.
Great.
Then you don't have to worry about it.
tough.
There you go. Good. So if you notice how he's just working along the top and not pushing it all the way down because it's easier just to weave from there and then push it down. It's a little bit different from basket weaving.
Those are probably more structural than this, as far as the way it works.
Well, the thing is with basket weaving, the reeds are a little bit more flexible and it's a bit more forgiving. It doesn't have much memory, right? So with metal, it has a lot of memory. So once you bend it, it stays there. Whereas with reed, it comes back. So you can push it down and sort of play around with it all you want. Especially if it's wet and not brittle, right?
You know, it's funny. So we didn't even really count the number of steaks in here.
Yeah.
And it worked out to be even.
You want it all?
And yes, so
Here,
I'm going to take the
use the
shear
cutters.
here. Oh, or the cutters, either or. And I'm going to go ahead and cut right about in half where I started. Behind that steak. Okay. Alright. And now we're going to force this back down to try and create our basket here.
And this is exactly how you would do it if you were doing a basket too. Is you would take a tool like an awl, and you would they call it a packing tool, and they pack it down if you want the weavers to be really nice and tight. There you go. What? That's okay. Just move it down and then worry about that. There you go. So he's trying to get it down as far as he can.
Slowly but surely, all the way around, just give it a little bit more and more pressure.
So working it a little bit at a time.
There it goes. So also at this piece right here, can you zoom in please? Where we're going to be soldering.
You see where the overlap of the ends? That's where we're going to be soldering.
Right there, yeah.
So we pushed it down here a little bit. Okay. So we pushed it so that the two pieces are on top of each other.
Right.
Like so. And then it'll make a nice connection. It's not touching now, but we're going to work on it just a little bit more. Go. Put it on the table, give it some leverage while you're packing it down. Dope. There you go. Are you going all the way to the bottom?
And try
Okay.
as best as we can. Just make it look nice and tight up in there. And look at that, it's pretty good. It's not too bad.
Okay, so then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my flat nose and I'm going to pinch it. Because you see how it has little curls coming up? And by pinching it, now I'm sort of forcing it into place.
And this is also going to help with soldering later because it's going to help get those pieces flush together.
Correct. So I push that down. So you see how it's tightening up for me? Oh, so nicely. And what he was mentioning earlier is these these stakes. I caught myself. These stakes have a tendency to have a mind of their own, and they just sort of move around how they want to move around. So I'm just going to help them out and tell them where I want them to go. That's what's really nice about doing metal, is you can pretty much tell it where you want it to go.
And annealing really helps it with that too.
Yeah, wasn't it nice? It's nice and soft now.
Yeah, it made it a lot easier to form.
So when you're doing a aircraft,
Mm-hmm.
when you're working on aircraft and you're working with steel, do you anneal it?
No, but we heat treat it in an oven for hours and hours. It's quite a process depending on the type of steel you're using and the thickness of the steel you're using.
So when you say an oven, you mean a kiln?
Yes. Yeah. It's pretty interesting. Our kiln was so hot that we'd play around with it a little bit. So we'd make paper airplanes.
Wait, on an aircraft carrier?
Yeah.
He says, yeah, like, you know.
And so
we're talking about something on an aircraft carrier. That's a boat, a very large boat on the water with a very large oven. Go ahead. It's a moving oven. Go ahead.
And so we would crank it up thousands of degrees and then open it, and then we have a pre-made paper airplane, and we'd throw it and try and get it to hit the back, but it'd already be catching on fire as it went all the way through the back, which is how hot it is. And
So
it gives you a real idea on how much heat is needed to make steel,
Malleable.
or even harder, heat treated.
Oh, you're heat treating to get it
Harder.
harder.
Yes.
You're not
So
heat treating it to make it more softer.
We bend it using hydraulic presses and things of that nature rather than, how you would do it, I would assume. Like this, where you heat it and then bend it.
Right.
No, we would just bend it from cold and then we would heat it to make it harder and strengthened that way.
Oh, I understand. Interesting. But what if you screwed up? You've been working on it for a while and you screwed up.
The heat treatment process?
No. In general, while you're working on it and it's gotten hard on you, because doesn't metal get hard every time you work with it?
Like bend it, you mean?
Yeah, every time you bend it, it gets hard, but you need to bend it back, but it's already hardened. How do you make it?
You don't. You'd have to restart.
You start from scratch.
Yeah.
Okie dokie then.
But most of these things don't take more than 290s in certain directions. There are some more difficult pieces, like underneath like an ejection seat or something like that. That would be a little bit more challenging and tricky depending on the size. But, it all gets done.
Okay, so you can see there, I've helped him out by tightening everything up and straightening everything.
Looking good.
Okay. Okay, so my rungs are right there. I'm sorry,
Stakes.
my weaver.
Oh.
Right there. You see there's a slight overlap. You can sort of see that, right? So I'm going to put this at an angle. Hopefully you guys will see it. And we'll put a little bit of solder in there. We're going to solder that. You really don't have to solder every single stake to the weaver, but you definitely need to solder that end right there. And I'm going to be a little sloppy about this. There we go. Just to make sure it makes connection. There you go. There it is. Okay. I know you can hardly see it. I'll point to it here in a second. But it's right there. Okay. Let's turn it this way.
Okay.
All right. It's all you. Done. Okay, we'll quench it and we're going to pickle that and we're going to do one more round and then we'll trim it and shape it and polish it.
Well, in the meantime, where's Sasha?
Sasha went up to see her granddaddy.
Sasha's
snuggling upstairs with Grandpa. Aw. Maybe you should send her down.
Do we have any questions while we wait for the pickling process? How's everyone doing? It's been a while, huh? Some of you.
Look, he's all grown up. Not that he wasn't grown up when y'all met him the first time or second time. How many times have you been out? Twice.
I was still in the Navy the last time, I think, wasn't I? Or I was just getting out. I don't remember.
I don't know. Ask Jim. He might remember.
Yeah, Jim, was I still in the Navy or was I getting out?
Assuming Jim's still there.
I have since graduated from college at Embry-Riddle since that time. And I purchased a house. And then I also picked up disc golf, in which I won state championship.
Wait, when? What?
All of that in 1 year, all during COVID.
What? When did you win the state championship?
The day I called you. And I told you.
Oh, did I know that?
Yeah,
I thought it was
she
just
knew.
a tournament.
No, I won state championship.
I guess I didn't realize it was state.
States.
Wow. Disc golf.
That's right. So if anybody wants to play disc golf while I'm in town, let me know.
I guess I didn't put together that it was state. Okay, so there we are coming out of the pickle.
Perfect.
All right, let me try that off a little bit. Okay, let's put the other one on. Have at it.
Right, bam.
So the question is, and I'm sorry, who asked the question? Deb Henretta asked, who's tougher, Your mom or your CO?
Probably my mom.
Really?
My CO wasn't that much of a hard ass.
Oh, wow.
On the boat, at least. The one on shore was kind of a prick. We didn't like him. But yeah.
Okay, so now, while weaving, we're working in opposite of where we were before. So where it was under, you're going to go over, and where it's over, you're going to go under.
So I did do that right.
There you are.
Under, over, here we go.
Too busy focusing.
Talking.
Too busy talking. Too busy trying to figure out which way to answer that question. Uh-huh. You keep drifting left.
Oh.
I already moved the camera.
Sorry.
That's okay. So I think we're just going to go for 2 on this one. But I think there was a miscalculation. I think this one, the first one, was actually the top and not the bottom. So this is going to be too small, but that's okay. It makes a point. Okay. There you go. I'm going to trim it.
Yes, please.
Oops. There you go. Let's trim it. I would trim it over here.
Yeah.
No. Keep going.
Farther?
There.
Further?
There you go.
Further or farther?
Further. All right. There you go.
Come on. There it is.
Okay.
I might have to
There
trim
you are.
that up some more. That's a bit long. What is that?
So.
You need to anneal the bezel wire too. Not prior to, you don't need to. It's pretty malleable as it is. I'm sure, I don't know if it would make it too brittle if you did.
No, I wouldn't worry about it being brittle.
Okay. Well, that answers your question right there.
You could anneal the bezel wire if you wanted to, but there doesn't seem to be a huge advantage here.
Yeah, I mean, you guys saw it. It just went in pretty easily. You know, it didn't do anything crazy. I mean, it might help with this part, pushing it down. So that's a pretty good. That's a pretty good idea.
See, the thing is, I don't think I would anneal this. And what he's saying in the packing process, it might help, but I think that it would make it so soft that if you push it too hard, it'll make one area have a dip or have too much of a bend in it. Whereas here, while it's still a little stiff, it can come down easily and, not easily, come down evenly so that you don't have like weird dents in it. So, you know, for those of you who've taken a lot of my classes, clearly he's my kid because I don't know, he came up with this one. He didn't even know that I've done, as Debbie mentioned, that I've done a weave like this on a bracelet before, nor had he seen the snowflake from the Step-by-Step Surprise over last winter. I just showed it to him this morning and said, do you want another pair here? And said, oh, look at that. We seem to think alike, huh? In complexity, but there it is. Okay. Is that as far down you want to go?
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's good.
Okay.
I don't know how much farther we're going to get here.
All right, tighten it up. You want to show them?
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and take the flat nose pliers and pretty much do...
From the side first. There you go.
And do exactly what she was doing earlier. And I'm going to try and get this very tight together.
There you go.
Go all the way around each stake one at a time. This one.
And we're just squeezing on it to get the weavers and the stakes to conform to each other. And while you're at it, you can do a little shaping. You see, he's doing a little shaping by reaching all the way down to the bottom of it instead of just working along the top, trying to get it all nice and straight at the same time.
See, that's where I'm her son.
What?
Because I would go all the way down. I don't know, that's just conceptual, I guess, to like go all the way down and
It's
make it all the way
intuitive, you mean?
straight. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just from learning.
Observing. But I think a lot of that honestly comes with experience. You know, you work with metal long enough, you understand how it works, and you also start figuring out how to do things quickly and easily. Okay, so may I? Wait. Oh. Should I find another one?
Yeah, a longer one would be nice.
So you can find something else.
So I went ahead and put our form inside just to kind of get the top nice and round.
Try this one.
Thank you. Yeah, that's too small.
Too small? Too big. Actually, this is a little bit smaller.
What? Then what?
Oh, here. This one.
Okay. There it is. That's the one we want.
So as you can see, we're just using what we have.
Everything's a tool.
Everything is a tool, except your teeth
That's definitely a tool.
and your fingernails.
Okay. There we go. We gotta get this one tucked away.
Okay, show them.
So right here I have a little piece of our ribbon hanging out.
Bezel wire.
Bezel, it's okay. I'm just gonna turn this way. There we go. And I'm gonna try and hide that behind one of these other stakes here.
Actually, just pull the stake out.
Just pull the stake out.
There you go. Like, bend it a little bit. There you go.
Right.
Because you can always bend it back.
Right.
And you can use that to give it a squeeze.
So now it's hidden. Looks like one almost flush piece.
Squeeze that. That one right there. Yeah. Yeah. Like that.
Okay.
Okay. Feeling good?
Feeling good. Feeling nice.
All right.
Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and solder that in.
All right. Let me get some solder. So this one you can be able to see a little bit more easily. Where is it? Oh, right there. Okay. So we can put a little bit of solder there. It's a ton of solder, but we're going with it. There you go. Okay. Let me zoom in just a little bit. Okay, so the weaver's slightly off. You see that? It's slightly off. So I'm going to move it together just like so. Okay?
All ready?
Of course you can do this with silver. Let me know how it goes. It's going to be a little bit harder. You'll really, if you do decide to do something like this in silver, you do want to very much so anneal it because it's going to be pretty hard to bend.
And quench it.
Okay, and we'll stick it in the pickle.
Cool.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, so in this first one that he did, he just trimmed it around the top and filed it. But I think I'm going to do something different on this one because we have lots of extra stay length,
Yes.
height,
And experience.
and experience. To do something with it. We'll make it interesting. Okay. So, all right. Are we having fun with the sun? Is the puppy still upstairs, honey?
We have a third hand.
He's reading the comments. If you're wondering, what are you?
Well, I like to catch up. So I do a lot of presentations. Well, when I was in school, I did a lot of presentations. I was kind of the leader of most of my groups, and so doing that, and especially through COVID and Zoom, you're reading the comments while you're presenting, and it's just kind of a habit at this point for me to look at the comments, see what people are saying, keep everyone engaged. I think that's really important, especially when you're giving a presentation.
Well, of course.
You know.
Because otherwise you'd be a what? Just
Well-
a talking head.
Well, you'd be that person in the back who doesn't say anything.
You'd be the person in the back who doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So,
So,
and I don't like to be that guy.
you don't like to be the guy in the back.
I don't like to be player B. I want to be involved and know what's going on and aware and not
Participate.
look stupid.
You want to participate.
That's what helped me through college, participating, honestly. I wasn't exactly always the brightest kid in the room, but sitting up front and participating definitely helped me learn so much more than sitting in the back and not participating.
It counts.
It counts.
Okay, so I'm putting this in. It's a little wonky. I'm going to put this in.
Oh, a little bit closer, Mom.
Oh.
So for everyone to see.
Let's see, we're going to zoom out a little bit. Sorry about that. So I put it in and I'm pushing it down just because it was a little wonky. I want that really nice and flat. Okay. So here's my thought, and we did not come up with this. This is, we're absolutely, what do you call it in jazz? Freestyling. We're freestyling. So let's trim this a little bit, make it nice and even. By the way, all of these tools are available at theurbanbeater.com. So, and again, as I mentioned, I did post the link to the download. It is on the Urban Beater for free. So if you wanted, for the, not the download, the pattern. There's no instructions with it because we're doing it now, right?
Here we are.
Here we are doing the instructions. And I did call it Fun with the Sun. Because I don't know what else to call this. What else would you call this?
It's good enough for me.
Okay. So, and he wanted me to let everyone know that a storm is rolling in, so we might lose connection. You never know. Okay, so this one, I think I'm going to, what do you think?
Sure.
Bend
Let's
it down?
see. Yeah.
And then the other one bends in.
Okay.
Well, the other tool, I've already put away tools. I know, what else am I going to do sitting here and put away tools, right? You should have seen all the tools he had out on my workbench over there that I put away today.
Because I knew we were going to use them again.
Oh, is that what that was? Just like so. Ooh.
I'm kind of surprised he doesn't have a checkout inventory.
Why would I have a checkout inventory?
So you know exactly when all your tools are checked out and put back.
Who said I don't?
Yeah. In the Navy, we have a sheet, and then you got to go check out all your tools, go to a supervisor, have them sign out that you checked all your tools, and then you get to work with them, and then you got to go put them back, have them check your tools, sign that you checked your tools, and then that's pretty much how we
But
did
these
it.
are my personal tools in my personal
No, I understand.
studio. So what I'm doing now is I'm bending every other rung
I'm sharing sea stories.
out or in. You're sharing sea stories. Okay, so where were you deployed?
Where was I deployed? So we were in the South Arabian Sea. The ports that we went to were, let's see, the first port we went to was Singapore, the South Pacific. And then we went to Dubai, Abu Dhabi. And then we came back to Australia, and on our way back is when we did our shellback ceremony. And for those of you that don't know what that is, that's crossing the equator and exactly at a certain time. I believe it's at 000. Everything is 0 for the time and location on the map as far as longitude and latitude. And then once you cross over, you have to do your ceremony, and that consists of a bunch of things that no one would ever want to do. But I'll give you a little taste of what I had to do. My friend, he was a trusty shellback, and I was just a slimy wog at the time.
What's a wog?
Just a landlubber.
Oh, okay.
So he soaked my shirt that I had to wear that day for a week in a plastic bag full of tuna,
Oh my
protein,
God.
eggs,
Ew.
anything that you could find on the ship that would be nasty. So I had to wear that all day.
Ew. God, I'm surprised he didn't come home with a rash.
And yeah, there's some hazing in there for sure. It used to be a lot worse than I
Why are
had
we
it.
hazing?
It's just tradition.
It's tradition. We haze because of tradition.
And if you don't take part in this, then you're not really respected among the crew.
But this is on the way back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I would think that they would do it on the way there, but okay, sure. Whatever.
You know? But maybe it was on the way there. I don't know. It was all kind of a blur. Every day is kind of the same when you're on the boat.
So moral of the story here is this is the world's richest navy. This is what we do. And he still smells like tuna. But baby Sasha doesn't smell like tuna, does she?
That's right.
Okay, so I'm not being particularly careful about this, but you can see what I'm doing here. Okay. And you really don't, again, it's gotten really rigid, so you can see, you know, and you don't really have to solder all these. They should be just fine, unless you want to.
Even the original one that we didn't bend the top over, as you can see, but it's still rigid itself. It's not going anywhere. So, like she said, it's not a necessary thing that you need to do to make it have strength.
Okay. So what's nice about this is no filing. We know how I feel about filing. All right, so there it is. Shape's still a little wonky. Let's put it in here. Oh. Look, I have a little basket for my Henrietta's gum. Uh-huh. But you see, I have some wonkiness here too, so I'm just gonna, because it's so malleable, because we've heated it several times. This is sort of a fun little project. Who knew? Are you having fun?
Yep.
You gonna come back and do this next week?
Nope.
Nope. Fine.
I won't be here.
Monday.
I'll be looking for a house. I might be moving back home.
Yay. Which means I should just make him do more lives. Okay, so remember this was supposed to go this way, so it fits. It would have worked.
Yeah.
See? It would have worked. Had we made it the right sizes. Okay, so let's finish it up. What are you going to do?
So, I like things shiny. So I'm just going to go ahead and polish this all the way through. All the way around.
Brush it with a brass brush.
That's right.
He likes things shiny. Funny.
You like things shiny?
I like things more matte. What happened?
Depends on what it is, I think. I feel like copper should be shiny.
Really?
I do.
I like copper being a little bit more matte. But, okay, so what I'm getting together on the side here is I'm putting together a muslin wheel and a little bit of polish, because as soon as I did that yesterday, it's like, whoa, I like that.
That mirror finish.
That mirror finish.
Looking good.
Okay.
Actually, this would have worked if it didn't bend. I think it would have stood up a little bit higher, obviously, if we didn't bend it.
Yes, it would have stood up higher, but it was supposed to be the lid.
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
Alright, so it's pretty shiny right now, as you guys can see. This is what it was before.
Where's
Turned out a little bit better, but we want it to be...
Where's my polish?
It was right here in front of me.
Oh, there it is. Okay, so a little bit of Euroluster on a muslin wheel on a flex shaft, and you're gonna see magic. So go ahead and embed a little bit of polish onto your muslin wheel, and there it is. You zoom in, zoom up a little bit. There you go.
So yesterday, I was kind of concerned about these black marks that were coming up. I wasn't too sure on what that was. But it's fine. It's just a little bit of wax that comes off with soap and water later.
It's the polish is what he meant.
Polish, not wax.
A little bit more and get a little bit more aggressive.
More aggressive.
A little bit. There you go. So there's a fine line between too aggressive and not aggressive enough. Because if you're too aggressive, basically you're just melting that wax in the compound and you're just embedding it so it won't do its job. So when it seems to only be spreading black stuff around, you're not aggressive enough. So get a little bit more aggressive. But you can already see very quickly that it is getting that nice mirror shine. So when he's all done polishing here, he'll take it and wash it with soap and water and a toothbrush under the sink. If you don't have an ultrasonic cleaner, okay, that's the easiest way to do this. So the question is, do you make two different sizes, base and lid? Yes, because the lid needs to be bigger so it goes over that base. So you'll see in the pattern that you download that one is actually bigger than the other one. For those of you who want this printed on vellum, I'd be more than happy to print this for you and throw it in your next order. So just, in your next order, just put a note in there and I'll just print it for you. Again, I have like 450 sheets left of vellum. It's probably 1,000 page.
Should ask for it. It's really nice.
It's probably 1,000-page ream, but yeah. You liked it, huh? Better than paper.
Yeah, I like the paper. The paper is really, really helpful, especially for this application.
The vellum.
I mean, I could have used that in the Navy a million times.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
What do you guys use?
Oh, we have like our computer, which has our schematics on it for however we're going to measure something, but it'd be a lot easier to just be able to print it out exactly on the vellum paper and then just go from there and make our cuts from there would be a lot easier.
Huh.
Yeah.
I got something on the Navy. Who knew? There you go. Almost done. So that said, what's going on this week? Zoom on Friday. We are going to be doing separate but together. I know, I'm like right in your face over here. It's the enamel project using separation enamel coming up on Friday. If you have not registered for that, you still have time to get in on the Zoom. And then on Monday, we'll be back with Makeover Mondays, and we're doing the circles project. It was a surprise project that I'm going to redo as a pair of earrings. Just another take on the design, slightly different. And September schedule is so close. Been working on that. Just putting together the calendar and the links for that. Not much going on next month because I'll be out of town and I'll be out of town and I'll be out of town like 3 times. And that's it. That's what's going on. Anything else you want to share with all our people out there watching? There's like 2,000 people out there watching.
Is there 2,000? Man.
No, not really.
I'm single. No, I'm kidding.
He's single and available. No,
that was a lot of fun. I'm glad you guys all tuned in, and I appreciate you guys taking some time out of your day to watch us have some fun on my vacation. And
yes, I made him work on his vacation.
So you just marked the measurements recently on the metal in your Navy job?
Yeah.
What?
So one last question was, so you just marked the measurements directly on the metal on the Navy job. So when you were working in the Navy and you didn't have paper to put this down, what did you have to do?
So I'd have to like go in and scribe out what I'm going to be cutting out, or I'd have to use like a marker or a wax pen to draw it out on the metal, and then we'd have to bend it from there. That's why you got to be good at your job. That's why you got the skills.
Well, that's why you have to be accurate.
Yeah.
So that's how you develop your estimation skills.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Wow, but you're right. It would be so much easier. Why would they not give you a pattern?
They do. It's on the computer, and you just have to translate.
No, why would they not print out a pattern for you? Come on.
It's not.
Okay,
like
so
that.
I don't know about you all, but I think that's like the craziest thing ever. Really?
Yeah, but not everybody got to do what I got to do. It's a pretty special job. So.
Okay, well, Because you're a pretty special boy.
That's right.
Okay. But anyway, all right. Well, thank you everyone for hanging out, watching, and do us all a favor. Share the video, give us a thumbs up, and give us a shout out. All right. We will see you on Friday. If not, we'll see you on Monday. Thanks so much. It has been so much fun.
So much fun.
So
Thank
much
you,
fun.
guys.
See, he's smiling. He's smiling. That's what's important. Okay, so just,
Oh,
yeah. There you go. Sit
sorry,
up.
not working anymore.
All right.